Hey y'all, let's do this burrito roll. I'm using the same fabric for everything, so I've marked my right sides with these pins on the front and back, just so if you're using different fabric, you can kind of tell the difference. If you're using all the same fabric as me, you pretty much end up with a bodice that you can use either way. It's finished completely on the inside and the outside, and you can just pick which I just picked by which ones I liked the flower placement better on. But again, the pins are marking kind of the right side if you're using a lining fabric that's different. So what we're going to do is lay out our bodice completely flat, right sides up, and we're going to start rolling from the bottom to the top. With both the lining and the main fabric, you're going to roll as tightly as you can until you get to the shoulder area right here. Once you hit the shoulder, what we're going to do is we're going to separate this main fabric and lining fabric on these top open side seams right here. So we're going to flip the lining underneath. So now we have our main fabric above the burrito and our lining fabric below the burrito, and our burrito roll is staying right here at the shoulder, kind of marking the line between the lining and the main. Now flip your lining over top the burrito, and now it's right sides together with our main, and we're going to pin all along this arm side. Your rolled up little burrito is going to stay inside there, and you just kind of have to push it away from where you're going to stitch. When you stitch down this arm side, you're just going to make sure that you do not catch that little burrito in there. So make sure it's rolled up nice and tight, so that it's easy to kind of get out of the way when you're sewing that narrow little shoulder area. Again, it's right sides together. My main fabric is on the top above my burrito, and then my lining is on the bottom, and it's flipped to the top to meet the main fabric right sides together. Now I'm going to speed up the video just a little bit so I don't bore you. I'm just going to stitch down this line. The only thing to note here is to be careful as the shoulder narrows not to catch your burrito rolled fabric. You're only catching your lining and your main fabric along the arm side. If you're doing the gathered cap sleeve, your gathered cap sleeve will also be in that stitch line as well. All right, now that we have stitched all along our top arm side here, what we're going to do is gently pull out the roll of fabric that was inside that shoulder area. Go nice and slow and be gentle. Sometimes it's a lot of fabric to pull through that narrow shoulder. Shake it out. You can press your seam here. So now we have one arm side that is nice and neat and finished, and one that is still open. All we're going to do is repeat this process. And this time what we're going to do, here's my right side's facing up, and you can see we rolled to the top, so that top arm side is the one that is all nice and finished. And now we're just going to repeat the exact same process, but this time rolling down towards the bottom. So starting at the top now, I'm going to roll both lining and main fabric down towards the bottom shoulder. Probably going to speed this up just a little bit once we get past the part where I flip the lining to the top. That seems to be the most confusing usually, so I'm going to leave this nice and slow until that point, and then I'll speed it up for you. Again, you want to make sure you're rolling it nice and tight so that it fits on that little narrow shoulder nice and easily, and it's not getting in the way when you stitch along that little area. Roll till you get to the shoulder, and then again you're going to separate this lining and the main. You're going to flip the lining up above the burrito roll now, leaving the main fabric where it was. And the burrito roll, again, where you're going to leave that where it was, right along the shoulder. Mine kind of got unrolled, so I had to re-roll it. I have the mock turtleneck here, so mine's a little bulkier than if you were just doing a plain neck or the V-neck. Right, so again, I'm going to bring that lining up and over the burrito roll, right sides together to the main fabric. And here's probably where I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I'm just going to continue to pin main and lining together. One thing I want to mention really quick is if your fabric doesn't have a lot of spandex, doesn't have good recovery, a good little tip is to put some clear elastic in this seam right here. It will help hold its shape, and that way you won't have any gaping armholes. It won't grow with you, won't show too much skin under the armpit. I'm using a double brushed poly here, so it's got quite a bit of spandex, so I didn't worry about putting it in, but just in case you need that little tip, there it is. I'm pulling right sides out again, and now both of our arm sides are going to be finished nice and beautifully on the inside and the outside. I'm going to go ahead and sew the side seam as well and finish up this bodice with you. What we're going to do is lay it out just like we have been, with right sides up all the way out. Again, my main is with the pins here on top. And what we're going to do is we're going to separate the lining from the main on the back. Open it up just like that. So here's our one side seam and our other side seam, kind of one on the top and the bottom, even though it's really left and right side. Then we're going to open up our front bodice and match up our side seams, making sure not to twist the shoulder area at all. You want to make sure you're not adding a little twist in there. So matching up lining to lining, main to main, and you're going to match the bottom of the bodice at the lining, the armpit, and then the bottom of the bodice at the main fabric. I'm going to do this on both left and right sides. Our top and bottom is how I kind of have them laid out here. A lot of people like to nest their seams always. I almost always nest my seams, meaning push one seam allowance one way and the other seam allowance the other. I actually prefer, when I am burrito rolling a bodice and sewing the side seams here, I like all of the side seams to go towards the lining. You can try it out and see which way you prefer. Since I like my seam allowances to all go towards the lining, I always put my main fabric in first, my main bodice pieces in first. So I know I'm using the same fabric, but this is the main bodice right here. And then I sew down and it naturally pushes those seam allowances towards the lining. I find it helps have a smoother transition right at that armpit joint if I push all the seam allowances towards the lining versus nesting them. But again, you can try it out and see what you like. It is less bulky if you nest them always. Again, I'm going to start with my main fabric and sew down towards my lining. Push my seam allowances all towards the lining like I like. And just move through that armpit all the way down. And now when we put it on sides together, our bodice is going to be all completely sewn up. It's going to look really beautiful on the inside and the outside. This is a really nice, easy way to finish a tank top bodice that is lined and get a beautiful finish on the inside and outside. The only reason I always do videos for burrito rolling is it can be kind of tricky to understand without a video, without really seeing someone do it. So I hope this video helps if you have never done a burrito roll method before. And now that you've done it, you can take it anywhere you have a lined sleeveless bodice. Don't forget to show off your make when you use this method. Tag us and let me see. Good luck, y'all.